I think that a person that read this book would find out that the character in it, and I'm not saying it's a character-driven book per se. I've never really concerned myself with that.
Yeah, it's a good
I
story.
think there's a little bit of a moral to this book too, about discovering what's the right thing for you, doing the right thing, and if you do the wrong thing, having a little bit of regret about it.
Which actually doesn't turn up in fiction all that much anymore.
No. That's why I think before we started this, I was talking about I didn't want him to be one of these gung-ho slash and gash and just go out and fight and go for his gun and all that sort of a character. I wanted him to have a little bit of a conscience.
It makes him much more interesting, I think.
Where he's a little concerned about not so much about how other people see him, because one of the things I had to do was I had to make him different than a character by the name of initials with HH. So I had to make him a little more self-assured in some areas, a little less self-assured in others.
And a little less filmic, I think.
Yeah, a little less. Well, that other character is a math lover. I mean, he is super mathematical. He analyzes everything in terms of mathematics. Edward Pierce does not. He has to struggle to do his math, to do his navigation. He's learned it and he's good at it, but it's not a inborn talent with him.
Yeah, I like that. I don't like stories where heroes are instantly good at something, because that isn't how it works.
And the other thing is, he's not tone deaf. Anybody that's read the Forrester novels knows that his character is tone deaf. I didn't bring this out too much. There is one scene near the end where he's at a dinner and there's a string quartet or something playing in the background, and he recognizes some of the songs, or he can hear it. Although at that point he mentions, or the story mentions, that he notices the string quartet more because when they're not playing, he notices the absence of the background music. But it's not grating on his nerves like it is on another character. So there were some purposeful things I did with him to make him different from.
Do you think that having those constraints have made him a stronger protagonist?
Yeah, because I think he's his own character more.
That's so interesting. I think that's really interesting, because people so often will, there'll be a bestseller out, and they'll try to copy it, and they'll end up with very similar characters, very similar stories, and they won't really think the way people in publishing tend to. Okay, you can have a similar story, but how is this one different? They won't try. I think it's very useful to have constraints.
I think constraints are good to a point. I think you constrain it to the point where you might as well just put the guy in a straitjacket and have him sitting there in a chair for the whole movie. And now that could be an interesting story too.
Yeah, there've been some very good fantasy stories about people in straitjackets, actually. But because there is a conference going on, I think we should wrap up and send you off to the rest of it.
Okay.
So thank you so much for doing this. And again, this is Dave's book, and I'll put up all the necessary links. And thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.